Okay, it is today 85 of a book I'm not supposed to be able to finish, and God has a funny sense of humor. When people wrong you, remember this. Joseph had 11 brothers, and he was his father's favorite. His brothers were so jealous of him that when he was 17, they faked his death and sold him into slavery. This is a great story. They put Joseph on a completely different path that came with a lot of hardship, but God used it to position him to eventually become the second in command over all of Egypt. His brother's terrible betrayal of him set him up for a huge blessing, and years later he used this power to save his entire family, including his brothers and their families, like the nation of Israel, from several year famine. When his brother bowed down before him, terrified he would put him to death, pleading for mercy, Joseph said to them, because they didn't recognize Joseph after so many years of him being a slave, and then he was so good to his slave owners, and he was so versatile that he became like the right hand man. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done and saving many lives. Genesis 5:20. This radically transformed the way I look at people who wrong me. Instead of letting anger, bitterness, and resentment take over my heart, I chose to quickly forgive them and remind myself that there is a blessing around the corner. So next time someone wrongs you, remember they just are setting you up for a blessing. The bigger the injury, the bigger the blessing. Expect it, the blessing is coming. There you go. Back to forgiveness again. It keeps coming back. Can't get away from it. So for me and for anyone else out there who needs to keep hearing the message because we're a little rock solid, there it is. Just a quick update for everyone. So I came here Sunday. My intense bloating that was so painful, I couldn't take it anymore. Hard to breathe, but I had taken an anti-acid 2 days in a row, and that really helps with the breathing. But whatever. But I just couldn't take the pain. My whole right side of the body was just like extreme pain. So we came in and did a bunch of tests, whatever, and CAT scan, and I have blood clots all over in my lungs. I thought I had just one, they said, in the right lung, and then the next morning it was like, oh no, you have them all over in both lungs. And two doctors that looked at my CAT scans told me and my husband recommended that I go on hospice, don't do any more treatments, and just ride it out, die it out. And I was on narcotics, feeling fine and very amenable, and took the Jersey out of me. I don't know. And so it was like, we're like, okay, yeah, you're right. Just go home, enjoy life. You're not gonna enjoy life. You're just gonna be drugged up, and just go home and die. I was like, okay. And then yesterday, nobody came around to help me with, like, how do I manage the bloating going home? How do I manage, the blood clots? What do I do? Like, what's the situation? They're like, nothing. You said you were going on hospice. I'm like, I don't remember ever saying that. So apparently, like, I told them that I would go on hospice, and then the hospice workers were here, and I never even signed with anyone. And I'm like, well, I still not sure, like, what you're gonna do for me now, because if you're just gonna give me narcotics, like, I don't get that as treatment. That's not helping the bloating. That doesn't help bloating. So it was a bit of a shit show because there was lack of communication, confused communication, drugged communication. Even though I seemed not to be drugged, I was still apparently not really thinking clearly, or as clearly as I thought, or I don't know, but here we are today. And all these teams now, as of last night, when I was like making a stink, like, I know I want treatment for this blood clots, they were like, yeah, you should. We don't know why you're not. Like, why would you ever say that? And I'm like, because the two doctors told me to say it. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I know the blood clots are going to kill me before the cancer now. And because you can bleed easily with the with the medication, but it can happen to anybody. But he's like, you're so far gone, you're going to bleed out and die. And so, all right, then if I bleed out and die, I guess, I'll bleed out and die. If I only have, they made it sound like I had days left. which I know I don't have like 6 months left, but I thought I had more than like 24, 48 hours. But with the stent, I mean, with clots, you might not have 24, 48 hours left. So I was just getting different advice from all the teams in the hospital. I mean, well, these two guys said, don't do it. We don't think it's smart. And everybody else is saying, you should definitely do it. And, it's, there's risk, but it outweighs the risk of not doing it. And I tend to agree with that. So that's the road I'm going to take now. Hopefully, get out of here. And just pray. I really feel everybody's prayers. I really feel it because when I woke up this morning, I didn't go to bed till like 5:30 in the morning. And when I woke up this morning around 9 or 8, I just felt very clear that I was going to make the right decision, whatever that is. And I feel like taking the stent medication is the right decision. It feels good. I'm okay with it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'm okay with it. I think not doing it and just sitting there waiting to die and fucking have a heart attack somewhere in the middle of Publix, crack my skull open, everything, like, that's traumatizing. So I'll just keep an eye on my poop as usual. And so that's my next step. But the guy pretty much had me for dead, and everybody just wants me to just freaking die. Like, get me out of here. Like, I don't know. So that's what we're doing. So the next prayers is that the clots dissolve before I do. That's it. So thank you everyone so much for the prayer. I can't even tell you how much I feel it, how much I think it's working, how much all the doctors today are all on the same page. Every department, they're all like very calm about it, as opposed to Sunday night. So that's where we are. Nanu, nanu.